good evening, and welcome to another episode of Thought That Get Results. I'm Webbo Herbert, and as per usual, we're here every Tuesday evening with something that at least we think is of community interest and or of some concern. And if you think that you have something which fits into that category, you'd like to find out how you can be a part of the program, well, why don't you drop us a line, address it to the Let's Talk program in care of Vaughan Radio, P.O. Box 195, Charlestown in Nevis. So give us a call. Our numbers are 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. And by the way, those will be the numbers you'll use to be a part of this evening's discussion. Again, thank you all very much for joining us. This is your voice in the community, Talk That Get Results. With regard to your participation in the show, we encourage you to call in on the numbers listed 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. Here's a suggestion. If you have a question or comment, perhaps you can get a pencil, piece of paper, write it down so that you're well organized. When we're getting on the show, you take as little time as possible so that we can accommodate as many of you as we can. We ask only, first of all, you respect yourselves and then respect others, because we will not accept anything we deem that's not within our broadcast standards, but we encourage you to always be forceful with your point. Thank you all again for joining us, your voice in the community, Thought That Get Results. As advertised, tonight, this edition is entitled A Special Sustainable Show. We hear about the Special Sustainable Zone, the SSZ. Well, this is the SSS, the Special Sustainable Show. We'll do that in a minute. Before I introduce the panel for this evening, let me issue an apology. We advertised and indicated last week and onward that we were hoping to have the folks from the Special Sustainable Zone with the proposal. Late today, we got word that on their part, an emergency occurred. So, they were not able to be on the show this evening. We intended to speak with the CEO of the Destiny Project. Also, we had negotiated that you, the general public, will also ask questions of the said CEO. I, as the host, was also scheduled to ask questions on your behalf. So between now and then, we learn we are in negotiations now for rescheduling. Now, I don't want anybody to get too excited about it, because you know that if we've done this thing once, we've done it hundreds of times. And negotiations of this nature always, well, most often take turns like this. Sometimes we get late cancellation, sometimes we're still trying to get everything organized. So that's not anything that is surprising. What is good is that we've been assured that we will be rescheduled. We're going to try and see whether or not we can get that reschedule before that agreement is signed, because as we are learning, they're hoping to have this agreement signed by the end of 2025. So we'll see. On behalf of you, we're going to try our best to see what we get in. However, as I said months ago when this debate started, keep the debate going. As for me, I'm listening and I'm learning. Everybody says, especially the folks in authorities, that we are a very brilliant nation and the authorities are listening and taken into consideration. Take that seriously. Keep the debate going. As for me, I'm listening and I'm learning. So, again, we apologize, but again, on your behalf, as we've done for the last 3 decades or more, we're working feverishly on your behalf to get this thing done. We think it is very important to what is happening. On a light moment, every now and then I would go and check certain groups, certain fellas, we'll talk and stuff like that. So on the weekend, we're talking about this SSS, Special Sustainable Show. One fella in the group says to me, Webbo, this thing needs Ted and Edric. I said, well, Ted is only a phone call away. But for Edric, we might have to send an email. This thing is serious business. And a light moment is always necessary. So, on to tonight. And I'm encouraging persons more than ever, especially tonight, to call in and give us your views on the SSZ. They are taken into consideration, even if you don't think so. Again, as usual, we say, let's debate, respect each other and stuff like that. What we want is your view and your point. I find sometimes too much, instead of debating the issues, we cuss one another. And that's not necessary, right? So you got a point, bring it across, you can be passionate about it, but let's be respectful. So, tonight, Glendale Herbert, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo. Good evening to my panelists, my co-panelists here this evening. It's always, again, I'm always going to use the word pleasure to be here of a show of such high esteem in our federation. Webbo, we're faced with a series of issues that has called upon the country, at least calls the country attention. And when I say calls upon the country's attention, we're faced with, of course, the SSC, which is the most talked about thing in my lifetime that I've experienced here on the island of Nevis, and of course the Greater Federation. It's a game changer. I call it the watershed moment in our history that, and it's very, very serious as it relates to the merits and the demerits as to what can come out of this should we move forward. Now, Webbo, in addition to all this, we're the country, at least Nevis, the territory, what makes up the country of St. Kitts Nevis, is faced with a calamitous situation as it relates to fiscal matters. My understanding, the CBI subvention has been cut. It's an indication that our inflows has diminished tremendously here in St. Kitts Nevis. And it's now down from 66 million, I'm told, down to 35 million, a 31 million dip in terms of inflows into Nevis. Now, this would require some creative fiscal attention in terms of remedying the ship of state as it relates to fiscal matters in Nevis. That to me is important to look at. It means looking forward, austerity measures may have to be looked at, meaning a tightening of the belt. Government will have to make some serious choices going forward in terms of from employment all the way down. This is really consequential. In the midst of all this storm, economic storm that we are facing, we of course have the SSC that hangs over our heads. There are so many things that we ought to be looking at in terms of that and our current situation, fiscal situation here in Nevis. Webbo, again, it's indeed a pleasure to be here, but the moment is serious, and one ought to approach this in a sober way and a thoughtful way as to the way forward.
Janet Maloney, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Herbert. Good evening, my fellow panelists, and good evening, listening audience. Thank you for having me back on the Heavyweight Show, Mr. Herbert. Last week was my first time discussing the SSZ on this platform, but it certainly wasn't the first discussion happening across Nevis. We have had town hall meetings, session with teachers and students, consultation with the clergy, and even online presentation from the Destiny Group. Yet, despite all of these efforts, one reality remains clear. Many Nivians are still confused. People are unsure, they feel unheard, and many feel as though their opinions do not matter. And now we are hearing that the documents may be signed before next year, even while the public is still trying to understand the full implications. This is why I'm here, not to argue, not to attack, but simply to ask as a concerned citizen who loves my country that the right thing be done. Nivians deserve to be treated with respect, clarity, and transparency, especially on a matter that will shape their future, and that is what I'll stay here for now.
Conrad Nile-Libert, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo, and a pleasant good evening to your hard-working staff here at the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean. To my colleagues around the table, good evening. And to my friends near and far in the international circle, in Toronto, in Miami, in Connecticut, I say a special good evening. Once again, we gather to discuss the issues affecting the people. And of course, there seems to be one in particular that have occupied the forefront of our minds for the last many months. And of course, it can seriously impact our life here in Nevis, in the Federation, for many decades going forward. Webbo, as you know, I'm always happy to be a part of these conversations. I hope that at the end of the night, we, as panelists, can be enlightened, and I hope that we can enlighten some individuals, bring some clarity to the very uncertain circumstance that we face. As Glendale have pointed out, we have quite a challenging economic circumstance, economic situation, which of course will require of us as individuals and citizens to think differently, I suppose, more conservatively, maybe let our mind go into areas that we never thought we would have to in order to see our island move upwards and onwards and bloom in the way that it should. Those in the hot seat, the central authorities, we expect them to be quite creative in combating the circumstance that we face, economic circumstance. But in the midst of all this, Webbo, I don't think we should be reckless. I don't think we should be careless in terms of just doing things that would seem to be a quick fix, and of course putting in jeopardy future generations and so forth. I suppose the SSZ is one of those investment that well, the SSZ is not an investment, but this particular proposal that supposed to be functioning within the SSC, I suppose it's one of those it's one of those things that we got to think very, very deeply and very serious about, knowing that it can bring some form of benefit, but when we think of the opportunity cost, we wonder if it's really worthwhile entertaining it and having it being a part of our well-being. I realize that there are some, individuals that seems to be steadfast going forward. You have said, Webbo, that the opinions of the people count, and the consultations may have led to a bit of reshaping of things. I'm not too convinced on that, I think I've heard the Premier say No major changes, but of course, certainly some considerations. I'm wondering if the climate is one that we can describe as hostile to the proposal, and if it's so, I wonder why even the investors seems to be going forward, because no one seems to be happy to invest in a climate that is regarded as hostile to any proposal at all. So we see a lot of things happening here, and people are asking questions why the idea of the agreement being signed before next year is quite concerning, knowing that we are still to enjoy that privilege of knowing the terms and the facts of the agreement. I think that has been promised to the public, and I'm wondering if we would be getting that information before anything is signed, because sometimes it looks like we put the cart before the horse, and that is expected to be taken quite normally. We see a lot of abnormal things. We see, in particular, from my point of view, a redefinition of what we call corruption here on island. And but we are working with it. And of course, without any further ado, I'll pass the mic back to you, Mr. Herbert. Thank you.
Okay, so what we got? Glendale.
Yeah, again, I think what we're faced with, again, as we're learning fast, is that we're due for belt tightening. I mean, it's just a matter of time before these things has to be announced. With a shortage of CBI, I think our subvention monthly was about 5.5 million or somewhere in that region that we get over from CBI. It's now cut significantly. And the overall amount, we were getting 66 million, like I mentioned earlier at the top, per year. It's now down to somewhere in the region of 35 million per year. So you run the numbers per month, you see what that comes out to be, maybe somewhere in the region of $2.something million. Close to 3 million we'll be getting per month here in Nevis. It's a serious shortfall in terms of making up the gap. Government has to be creative in terms of their fiscal approach. I do think there are ways to approach this. How government needs to begin to think in terms of approaching it without, but it would take some time to get these things in place. I think I have put up my hand boldly and said I'm not in favor of SSC. I am certainly not in favor of the Destiny Project as a way out of this. I do believe that what government ought to have been doing is seeking out small enterprise companies here in Nevis that brings new monies into the country. And that hires maybe 20, 60, 80, 150 people. And you try to land one of those every year, every 2 years. In the country, we can absorb those students coming out of school and have them working. If we had that sort of approach, micro to mid-sized companies, they don't have the footprint. That's Destiny is asking for 2,600 acres. You will probably use an acre, 2 acres for these companies. I think that's the way we should have been going. I think a lot of these companies make their money overseas, but of course they have to pay salaries here in Nevis if they were going that route. And that would land new monies into our economy monthly, foreign exchange. Not just pay that, to pay electricity, name it, the whole host of things, Social Security, all that is new money is added to your economy. And I think that should have been the approach in collection of taxes and on. You're expanding the tax base as a result of that. But the idea of this big hit for the fences, Big Six or whatever for the fences with the Destiny Project, which really, we can't even supply the amount of workers that would need. Thousands and thousands of workers. We don't have that here in our base. We don't produce that. I think it's just, the scale is just too much. It's unpalatable. on and on. And the fact is, and they keep referring it to an economic zone, as I hear in the early days, and up to now they still say economic. It is not an economic zone. It's a homestead, or what's called a home settlement zone, and that's not an economic zone. Economic zone is something that keeps churning. It's specific. It can be to technology, it can be, like I said, to finance, and that sort of thing. You can have a financial economic zone, and that's all that's there, and you give them all the things they need to get to that space. I mean, we have geothermal, and if we had geothermal, we can even begin to promote a technology zone. That happens in Costa Rica. When Costa Rica found geothermal, they landed Intel, that one company alone created 2,300 jobs in Costa Rica, high-paying jobs. And a number of other companies joined, tech companies. So the point is how you think about this stuff. I think our approach has been, backward and not creative enough. Geothermal would have created, in my mind, had we gotten it off the ground, in my mind, created a plethora of spin-offs, if that was to happen or would have happened. But again, like I said, it's and then you could create an economic zone around that, But an SSZ and the laws for SSZ, which was specifically designed for this Destiny project. As far as I'm concerned, they didn't need no special law. I mean, they could have come in here like any major investment, the Marriott, this Four Seasons, the Hyatt, or whomever, and do their business. But I just don't get it because it's not worked out. It's too much to work out. The labor laws, the Social Security. How do you manage those things? How do you manage, like I said, if it's a tax-free zone, meaning that you're bringing in stuff, the absent duty, they don't pay whatever they bring in, the refrigerators, their stoves, whatever they're bringing over there. They have to have stores. They have to have restaurants. They have to have hardware.
Glendale, if I may, I'd like to go back to a point you had made earlier, a suggestion in terms of growing the economy. And I don't know if I got you correctly. You had suggested that they can do certain things other than the proposal that they're having to grow the economy and stuff like that. You mentioned that there has been a fall off from the CBI. Now, the CBI program, why has there been a fall off? Has it been indicated?
Well, I've never heard anybody say the reason why, but I'm sort of peeling back the onion, and I'm thinking that a lot of people have jumped into that space, like St. Lucia, a lot of the other islands, Grenada, and everybody else is in that space and lowering and undercutting the prices.
So when we are told that the revenues from the CBI have significantly depleted, we are not given the reason why?
The officials have not really given us a reason why. I've not heard them giving a reason why. I've heard people speculated, but I've not heard an official come out and say, well, this is the reason why.
And nobody makes any noise about that.
Isn't it amazing? Nobody has.
Okay. What I want, the other thing I wanted to ask, because you mentioned, I think, Nevis was getting a budgetary support of $5 million.
5 point something.
5 point something.
Correct.
Per month?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's an interesting notation. I have something to ask a little later on if I get the opportunity and that. But some of the things that you were proposing that could grow the economy, you are suggesting that the current political parties have had the opportunities, different parties in office, but they have obviously have not implemented the things that you are suggesting.
Yes, they have not. And a lot of we rode high on the CBI, tails of the CBI.
Okay, so work with me. So they have not implemented those things?
No, I don't see that.
Which party, if any, right now, you have the confidence in that can do that?
I don't have the confidence right now in any party being able to do that at this point. They haven't shown me that yet.
Okay.
I haven't heard them speak in this kind of language.
Right, but you speak, you are speaking this language.
Correct.
And you have a political party?
No, I do not.
Okay. You had a political party?
I was involved in something.
Walk
Hear me
with
out.
me.
I was involved in the prospects of forming a party, yes.
So you did not form?
No, we did not get it off the ground.
But it was formed. You want me to roll the tape with the evidence?
Well, listen, Webbo.
Here's
the point. Here's the point I want to make.
No. Walk with me, Glendale. You had a political party.
We had a political party.
And remember that, walk with me. Remember that one of your candidates for St. James, remember your candidate for St. James. He will call in, and he will say, yes, I was to run in St. James. You remember that?
I think so.
Okay, good. So let's get to the point that I'm making now. So these are brilliant ideas. You agree with that, Naya? That he is suggesting that can go the economy. But he hasn't seen any of the current political parties that can carry that mantle. Correct?
Yes.
Right. So I'm asking you, you said that your political party is right now dormant. But these ideas are not dormant, they're very much alive. You agree with that?
I absolutely agree with you.
Okay, so my question is, so why not wake up your political party?
Get involved, huh?
Yeah.
Well, right now there is no interest in doing that right now. I want to see the political process move forward. I'm hoping that the parties that are engaging right now in the politics will begin to think different and begin to seek out, seek help. Even
Well,
if they
what do
don't
you
have
think I
that-
was suggesting? I was suggesting that you provide the help. Naya, let me see if you agree with me. I'll get your support on that.
Well, it's a lot more to consider. I would think, Webbo. It's quite easy to say to revive your political party, but you must be accepted by the public before you can actually.
But remember what we do, Naya, and you're part of it. We do talk that get results. We don't just want to come here and just talk. We want to see the island moving. Glendale has some very good ideas, but the question, and he has said that he doesn't see any of the current political parties now that can. Am I not correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm suggesting, why not he move forward with it? He has a political party, he has a structure ready. And when I see his candidate from St. James in the week, he's going to say, well, I support you. So why not him? Why not his party?
Well, that's for him to answer. But in reality,
but he begging to you to answer.
Well, as I say, Webbo, there's a lot of ideas out there. We are, of course, dealing with Nevis with this particular circumstance and situation and so forth. We are dealing with tasks that get results, and of course, is one thing I don't want to do is to speak in a way that really does not guarantee a change. In a sense, does not workable, not viable. But I'm talking still, so I'm mindful about that in particular. I mean, we can always pitch ideas, on the table, but the viability, the workability of ideas must be, of course, considered, in our very special circumstance here on island.
Now, you said exactly what I was saying, just using different words. Janet, you want to come in?
I beg to disagree in terms of saying that I don't see any political party that can carry the mantle. I think any one of them can. Party for me is okay. You have two parties, yes, but it's more about the people that form the party, the people that make up the government, more so than a party within itself. Because if you care enough to make it happen, it can happen. And either CCM or NRP, once you have people in there that say, I care enough to make a difference, I care enough to do something, I think it can happen with either of them.
Well, I think the openness is very important, in government. I believe in a government through consultation, and of course you will have some guys that are likable and they are elected. But that doesn't guarantee that they are creative thinkers, that they are able within them own selves to turn things around. And through consultation, but of course we are very much narrowed down in Nevis, because you're either with that party or you're with the other party. And even if you're not with any party, somebody put you with one party or the other, and therefore, I think sometimes the politicians need to listen more and ask more and give and take on board ideas from whoever at times, But just remember, there are people who are trying. Have they tried enough? I don't think so. And of course, in consultation, that might energize them to try things that being communicated to them. I mean, if they operate in this close kind of way, then of course, you probably would miss the target. You would miss something that can really move the island, because there's no doubt Nevis, has a population problem. Nevis has its shortcomings in various ways. I don't consider Nevis to be an easy place to really lead, especially with our political arrangement with Sinkit, not having that strong identity in the international circle. That kind of pose a problem to us, and we have to be represented by people who we are not voting for at times, the federal people over there and so forth, and sometimes we find ourselves just have to play a game like we are playing today, because we become a liability in the arrangement, again, for whatever reasons, various reasons. And so it's pretty much hard work, I would think.
Let me just take this. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, I must commend you for your skillful way of putting questions to the panel. To me, obviously, get the response you need. However, I haven't heard you giving your personal view on the matter of the settlement in Nevis. Now, any law or any position taken must be in the best interest of division. Don't you agree?
Yes.
Now, when you look at the conditions and the demands made by the group, the Destiny group, do you think it is in the best interest of divisions?
You were listening from the beginning of the show?
Hello?
Yeah, I was asking you, were you listening from the beginning of the show?
No. Well, what did you say? You could tell me, because I'm not take up the time. What did you say?
No, I said, and from the debate started, I encourage everybody to keep the debate going. And I said earlier tonight as well, as for me, I'm listening and I'm learning. Also, we had an interview scheduled for this evening with the CEO of Destiny.
Is it going? Will it be going on still?
No, we had an emergency cancellation late today, and they have promised that we will reschedule. We're going to try and get it rescheduled at least before the proposal is signed, because we understand that it has been said they're trying to get it signed before the end of the year. So we mentioned that.
So you will form your opinion after that?
Yes, I'm listening, and on this show, I take my role seriously. My role is not to...
I say you're skillful at asking questions that could be...
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Panelists in a corner.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
But you see, are you familiar with St. Croix?
With St. Croix?
Yes,
in what regard?
I recall going to St. Croix in 74 to attend the wedding of my college mate. And my cousin took me for a drive down a place called East End. You ever heard about East End?
Well, I don't know a lot about it, but you could go ahead and make the point.
So it happened that the foreigners, maybe Americans, began to encourage the locals to sell the land down there. Which many, maybe the first time they see so much money, you know, sold the land and moved to the ghettos in the States, where they no longer had any dignity, you see. So not only that, they could not go into the area like a gated thing. They got locked out of the land of the area that they were born and grew up on. Now these are considerations that we need to bear in mind, because some people only say money, eh? They don't think far enough. And our leaders are taking the easy way out. They need to be more innovative, imaginative, because at the end of the day, even the numbers, if they want 10,000, each applicant has the right to bring at least 3 persons with him, eh? You know that, right?
Yes.
One passport, one application entitles you to 3 more passports. If you do the mathematics, because I was a math teacher, I know you're sharp because I listen to you. What is the eventual number? It's no longer 10,000 or 7,005, you know. So while we're talking about all them 10,000 on top of 13, we're going to be swamped. And a lot of people who say, well, let me leave and go to America. You see what Trump is doing? Trump putting out people who are legal permanent residents. So where they running going to? Even tonight he's saying, why they don't go back where they come from? He's saying that about the Africans, you know. They're dirty, they're this and that, and the representative who's a naturalized citizen. He called all kind of names. He don't want the black people in America. Because what do you mean by go back where they come from? And this is the disrespect that we are quoting. Our people up there being dishonored. And so sometimes we don't think far enough, and our leaders are no better. I told somebody on another radio station, the black governors and kings along the Ivory Coast sold us to the Europeans, and we're complaining. Well, our own leaders, who should know better, who know some history, should be thinking about that is more than the citizenship, because the truth is, if when Dr. Drew collected 600 and something million in 23, the same number in 24, how much did Nevis get? I mean, he got enough to reduce Nevis' contribution to the salary. Is ridiculous and abusive, because at no point did Nevis get its share, which is 25%. So now it's coming in less. It is being used up to share up the party, show it up. Mm-hmm. And Nevis need to wake up, because maybe when they have money in America, they go in England. This racist attitude towards our people and the disrespect that is being shared out by Trump and his people should awaken us. Is more than bread. That's why the Bible says, man shall not live by bread alone. And we are going to be replaced, displaced, demoralized. And we're talking about crime. Somebody sang a calypso, there's going to be a rebellion. You know that song, right? I think it's a mighty part.
Yes.
Have you heard it?
Yeah. Yes.
That is where we're heading, because the young people are going to sit down there all the time. Imagine they're saying that all the workers in the settlement are going to be on contract. What does that mean for the Social Security future? Unless they're able to pay, they are not going to get any contribution. So that they should have been able to add to our contribution in the Social Security. They're not going to pay this tax, and that is what we're depending on. So our leaders looking at, well, election coming up, and we give 1,000 people a job without any security for the future. So we need to think beyond just the outnumbering us, the economic impact, the social impact on our young people. We complain about, oh, they study and they wouldn't come back. What is the proposal to encourage them to come back? Come back for what? So I'm talking to the panelists. Think, go beyond the numbers. See how many, multiply it. Multiply and see. If in one soup, division become minority in their own country. One soup. And we can't be, oh, Mr. Grant, you know who really make me feel bad, Dr. Joe. Dr. Joe studied in Cuba. And they had to do socialism and so. He can't see that the black people, everywhere you turn around, they despise and put down. And while we're watching Davis, Dr. Denzel Douglas, the main culprit, has already announced that one is going down in Whitegate. If you know where Whitegate is, that is down in the same area we had a 3-mile green fence, nothing behind it. He had a horse race track that was used to sell. You have Kitchener, which is our money. What is it left for the people in St. Paul, going to St. Paul to get in his constituency? All they could get, the same, our people ain't got no understanding, no appreciation. So Dr. Drew and Mr. Brantley, they could always, when they finish such a migrate, they could always get the next passport. But please, Dr. Drew and Dr. Brantley, please consider the future of our young black children, older people in Davis and St. Kitts. It's more than just they're coming in and they're going to say what they want to do. If they could say what they want to do, we have no consequence. And they're now talking about, oh, they're going to update the voters list. Let me tell you something. When the program started, it was clear, written, that citizenship by investment are not allowed to vote. Do you know that?
Caller, I'm glad that you mentioned that point, because I even was talking to a former parliamentarian in St. Kitts, and I said I don't have it in black and white in front of me, but I am pretty sure that when that debate originated, it was said clearly that those citizens will not be able to vote. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, and if you have,
I'm telling you,
if you have any
call Council Mitchum.
Yes.
He mentioned this again.
Oh, okay. Because I'm pretty much sure that that was part of the debate. Anyway, go ahead.
You can't even believe what people talking about. Oh, well, the Constitution said. Well, before they signed the name on the paper to get this citizenship by investment, they knew that they were not entitled to vote. You hear him, oh, well, once ago, he did not say that. And all of a sudden, political parties, I tell you what, they bought, all of them no bought. But they look in numbers, who will pepper the plane to jet to bring on people. Really? And you got 13,000 in Nevis. Maybe only three-quarters of them could vote, because you have the children and so. How many individuals overseas just come out to vote? We don't think past our belly. That is why, Jesus told Satan, man shall not be by bread alone. We're looking at bread. If we like Esau, you see Esau? Esau was so hungry, I don't care about that thing, not pass the soup, you hear me?
Okay.
Caller, asking for the soup, realizing that we're giving up our birthright. All right, then, this is agree.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you. Caller, please call back and be patient. Okay, I'm sorry about that. 469-161-61700. This is a special sustainable show. Please call in and give your ideas. Now, to the caller also, that's based on the question you had asked me earlier. That's why I kept saying to everybody all the time, keep the debate going. Now, I don't know how many people have realized that the debate that is going on now has a different content to when it started, if anybody knows what I mean by that. When the debate started on this thing, it was certain people cussing one another. Now a lot of different issues are coming forth with this same thing, as this caller just mentioned. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Good night, Webbo, good night. This is Mr. Politics, they're calling me from Sinkit. Good night to you and your panelists there. I listen to your program all the time. And your program is very educational when it comes towards the politics. And it always not politics, because this is our country, and if it's something wrong, we speak out against wrong ills of the country. However, now this, if the government we elect in this country, when we elect a government, we elect a government to run the affairs of our country, run the affairs of the people that put them there to look over the country and do whatever the country want. Now this bill, when they went in the parliament, got passed. I think if the government, not the government, the elected members, them where we vote for to run the affairs of the country, if they're really serious about we the people of this country, they will have got in a tongue out forward and bring this thing before they go in parliament and go pass it. Because this is our land, this is our patrimony. You know? This is our land and this is our patrimony, whatever. And if they're really serious about this, the people of this country, especially down to our trading people, they will have come into the constituency them differently and pass this bill. I mean, let people have got a voice on this bill before they do anything. Because it's very serious, because we have a lot of young people in this country, young people got 5, 6 children, and up to now some of them can't own a piece of land. And whether you know that we young, all 4 parents don't work for this land, we come and work in the same sugar industry and help build the sugar industry. We see the program do so much and pay for this land, because we passport is our nationality. Whether when a young man or woman, a national of this country can't get a piece of land to buy or to own, whether we shouldn't have a problem. Because we 4 parents don't pay for this land, we don't work for this land. You understand? Whether they could pay land or not, this land has given down from the 4 parents, not politicians, and not no elected members who we vote for. When you get a piece of land, they feel like they give land, they give us nothing. And I am a serious man. I'm listening about my country, you know. I ain't about no politics, I ain't about no party. Because from the unity breakway, this away from one another, I don't even know what stand politically to vote for when this election coming.
Caller,
you understand?
I could ask you a
I'm
question.
about my country, I'm about my people. And some of the panelists are going round and round and round. Man, call a spade, there's something wrong. This is our country. This is our country. Call it out. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Whether you have a wonderful night, God bless you.
Before you go, I could ask you a question.
Yes.
You say you're not about no politics, correct?
Yes.
So why your name, Mr. Politics?
Well, let me tell you something. The people have given me the name.
Oh, okay. That's
because
it.
I like to discuss. I like to talk with. It's not whether you elect people in this country. As soon as you speak out against the ills of the country, you talk politics. It's politics.
Okay.
Politics. If you talk about your country, it's the wrong things going on. It's not the politics.
Okay,
it's about the country that you talk about what's going on in your country if it's something wrong.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay then, all right. I will get back. I will get back in if I get something else to say.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Webbo,
Yes.
we were earlier talking about the CBI. I had the opportunity to ask the CEO of the Destiny Project a question. Whether or not, this I had the opportunity to ask him a question, and part of his response to the question I asked was that the Destiny Project will boost the CBI program due to the fact that homeowners would be going through that avenue in getting their homes. And to me that speaks volume, because he's basically saying all homeowners in the zone would be passport holders, will be citizens. And that has serious implications to our political landscape going forward. Because we've been told 10,000 people, and you know, I can't believe, I hear all about 10,000 people and so forth, but I mean, it's not easy to build 10,000 homes and all this and so forth. But anyway, we've been talking about 10,000, 7,000 people, 11,000, 15,000 people. And what the caller was just saying make a lot of sense. I mean, if we got all these people, and we say times 3 because, you know, you have the right to your family. But anyway, if you got 10,000 people on the South holding passport, they are citizens and have the right to vote, then it's all over. It's all over for us.
Listen, this has a lot of implications. And, you know, I mean, not because somebody offers you something means you have to jump for it. You have to be, the lady said, for example, you ought to be thinking about your history. What happened in St. Croix she referred to, and I hope I'm correct, in 1973-74, I think, it led to Fountain Valley.
Yeah.
These things don't end well.
Mm.
And, you know, she never went as far to end the statement, but I knew where she was going. I think I did. You know, and it requires a lot of thought. And I say, you know, people put up their hands and, of course, run for politics, and they're right. They're right to do it. But you must consult. You must reach out, because the talent pool is very small in this country. Meaning, the people who have exposure to things that you've never seen or the average guy has never seen. You know, I mean, there are very few people who you can tap into. You understand, who understand whether it's high finance, whether it's, you know, how things work, markets, etc., and the implications of how things done. But it seems to me we don't do enough in terms of reaching out. You don't do enough in terms of, for example, even negotiating this matter here with Destiny. I don't even think government officials ought to be involved in this negotiation. I frankly think they should have reached out to a consulting firm like Arthur Anderson or one of these firms who does this sort of thing. You understand? Because there's so many internecine things that are involved, you know, and they can come back to them and say, well, boy, you know, because these guys in high finance, for example, Bitcoiners or whatever, billionaires, they know so much that you don't know, and they're negotiating with you, and they're negotiating with their hands tied behind their backs for the most part. They're not going to tell you things that's going to be beneficial to you for the most part. They're negotiating for their interests. You understand? I mean, I know you might be, you know, if some of the other guys who went to university or whatever the case, but that's not enough. That's not your wheelhouse in which you deal with every day. You hire a firm, I say, pay $5-10 million to do what they do, but believe me, it's money well spent at the end of the day in terms of all the interesting things that can come out of this and all the things that you can benefit from. They'll tell you areas where you can benefit where you don't even see. To me, you know, you can't do this in an irresponsible way. You understand? And that because, again, unless you, like I've always said, you know, living in a major city in the world and doing business or finance or whatever is different from growing up here and think you're bright. It's a totally different game. You're seeing so much different things coming at you, and you experience so many things in, you know, in major municipalities. And I'm just merely saying too, listen, this has a lot of implications. I mean, and like I said, the social impact is something to look at very seriously. I mean, we can't. This is not something you do overnight, within 3 months or 6 months, and then think you know. Because, okay, I went to school, I have a degree, I got a degree in whatever I got a degree in, and I think I'm smart. You don't know nothing. You think you know. I'm sorry.
I think most people are looking for transparency of the development agreement. Will the full legal agreement be made public? That is a question that many people want to know. Will Nivision get to see land transfer terms, tax concessions, the real obligations of the developer, the profit sharing structure, the penalties for non-compliance, and the environmental commitments? Consultation does not equal clarity. Just because meetings were held does not mean the people understand the legal structure, the risks, the protections, the obligations, and the long-term consequences, and some of it are being shared here tonight, especially with the lady caller. Talking to the people is not the same as talking with the people. Nivisions, I think a lot of us are feeling rushed, and when people sense urgency without clarity, they naturally become anxious. Signing before the public is at ease only creates more distrust and make us feel as if our input not valued. 3 opinions, many people feel as if the opinions are being dismissed. You can say a growing number of people feel that their concerns are being brushed aside or reframed as ignorance, negativity, or even spiritual rebellion. This is unhealthy for public dialogue. And this SSD is too big to be rushed or forwarded in confusion. The SSD affects land, identity, and investment, and you cannot, and I don't think that a generational agreement should be rushed. The Premier and Destiny, I think, should welcome transparency. If everything is sound, this is your strongest argument, that you would have been transparent enough to bring the documentation to the public. There's nothing to be, if it's so good, then there's nothing to be afraid of. If it is good for Nevis, transparency will increase support, and if it is not shown, people will naturally assume something is being hidden. And I think a lot of people want to know, why is the document not being made public? We want to be a part of it. We want to see the document. We are the people who are going to have to face the consequences in the long run, not one or two person or everybody. So we are appealing to the Premier to make the document public so that persons can see what is really in it, and then we can all decide together, once we see that document, whether this SSZ thing is good for Nevis or not.
You know, I mean, Ms. Maloney, I quite agree with you with everything you say. I think what has come under review in terms of the conversation as time, kept moving on, is that the person who the leader of the Destiny, his character has come under review. I mean, the things he's been saying for the last 10, 15 years or up until this year, I mean, are quite disturbing. I mean, things on the edge of racism. I mean, you call it for what it is. When you, for example, as of up until this year, 4 months ago, extending your deep condolence to Charlie Kirk, up until 4 or 5 months ago, questioning Apple for hiring black people. And as a white man, he's not going to get the same chance, opportunities, on and on and on. It's all in his threads. Up until the other day, he wrote, for example, he gave a speech. He wrote in a speech, a private speech amongst his people or whatever they are in Europe. And then when he gave the speech, a publication took it public, and he tried to sue because he said, for example, and I can read it from sand niggers. We need to get the guns for the sand niggers and that sort of thing. I mean, these are consequent. To me, they're important things to know the character of the person you're negotiating with and the intent. Because your speech and your history tells you your intent and what how far you can go with your thoughts. And that, to me, I mean, to say you don't do background checks and you don't really look into people's past. I have a plethora of things that he said. I mean, and all it takes is a little research, and all it takes is people sending you, and you get it. I mean, so I don't take this thing lightly. I don't know the ilk of the persons around him, the types of persons that are around him, and what their intentions are. All I know is your word, your character, and how you've demonstrated that over and over and over years. You don't change like that. You know, people just don't switch on and switch off like that. You know, your thoughts linger with you. And I, as a black man who lives here in Nevis, and all my black compatriots, brothers and sisters who grew up here with me, and history, whatever the case is, I have a concern for that, for us.
What, gentlemen, if we were to go back a little on one of the points the caller made in reference to the citizenship, because I had a discussion today, and I said to someone, the persons have the citizenship by investment. They bring their monies, correct? Correct?
Yes.
And then they come in. So you can't take the money and then tell them they can't come.
Certainly.
So what you have to do is organize and prepare accordingly.
Or not take their money.
Well, that is
As
why
the lady said, men shall not live by bread alone, and we can't be acting like we are desperate because we are small and we are challenged right now economically, and just, you know, I know that I wanted to address this because our premier, he would have often spoken about for Nevis to grow, said that we need more people here, emphasizing the importance of people who can invest, create jobs, and contribute to our development. That vision is understandable. Every society benefits from investment and opportunity. However, as a concerned citizen who love my country, I feel it as important to ask clear and respectful questions when such claims are used to justify, in my opinion, a particular group's presence. How exactly does the Destiny Group align with the Premier's description of the people Nevis truly needs? What specific investment, jobs, or long-term economic benefits are being brought forward? And if these thousands of people are indeed coming, how will Nevis ensure that local citizens are protected, included, and given priority in shaping the future of the island? These questions, I must say, are not political and they are not oppositional. They are rooted in responsibility, foresight, and care for Nevis, values that any true leader would encourage. Development and opportunity are important, but they must go hand in hand with clarity, transparency, and fairness for the people who will live with the consequences for generations to come. Nevisians, we are intelligent people and we are ready to support progress, but we must see the promises translate to action. That is why making agreements and plans clear to the public is not just prudent, it is essential. True leadership welcomes such scrutiny because it strengthens trust and ensures that growth benefits everyone. All that I'm saying, let us see the document, kindly. We deserve to see the document.
I certainly agree with you.
Before it is signed.
Yeah, with everything you're saying. And I just want to read from Twitter. All right? This is Oliver Jensen. I am calling for, this is after the death of Charlie Kirk. I am calling for a central list to be put online with all people that have somehow celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk, with proof attached. Useful for screening people to show history for future generations. You understand? And he goes on to say, let free speech do its job. Let the consequences be felt. This is Twitter.
Why don't you tell the people?
This is Charlie.
Who is Charlie Kirk?
Charlie Kirk is the gentleman who got shot in the United States the other day, the racist guy who had been spewing a lot of racist things. And of course, you know, a lot of black people, you know, was against what he's saying because he was, you know, a real, you know, harsh. He has some harsh views as it relates to the black question and black folks. You know, so, I mean, listen, guys. And on, he delves into this subject a lot. Now, a person don't have to put up a gate and tell you can't come in the space. I'll give you a quick example. If I give you, Miss Maloney, you have $100 and you're going to a Louis Vuitton shop, a Chanel shop, right? And all the people, the store attendees stand around with their hands full looking at you. You think that they're looking at you, and why are they looking at you? Because you have $100 in your pocket, and you feel nervous. If you came out the store and you go next week and I put $30,000 in your pocket and walk into a Chanel store or a Louis Vuitton, you walk and you look at every one of them in their face with your eyeballs locked in on them, feeling confident with your chest up. When you go into certain neighbors, they don't have to tell you to leave. There's a way to do it. They price you out the market and you feel uncomfortable. Psychology. My point is, we got 10,000 million years or whatever the case is. Guys, know what you're walking into.
Yeah, because I am here looking at the affordability of land security, meaning Nevis is a small place and we have, what about our young people? Would they be able to buy lands? Will local people be priced out of land and housing? If the SSC, with all these millionaires, land price skyrocket, how will locals compete with foreign wealth? What guarantee exists to prevent land speculation, forced displacement, or creeping takeover of surrounding communities, especially if they have the money and local may not be able to compete with them? We have to take those things into consideration. We have to protect our people.
And, it's all about economies of scale. You can put this project in Jamaica. They have 3 million people. They can absorb this, 10,000 people. I'm just using an example, or a bigger country. But big Honduras, who is 10 times bigger than Jamaica, Honduras, and the population is many, many times over Jamaica. They took 1,000 acres, same concepts, a land, right? With this same concept, went out there and did the same thing in Postera, I think it's called. Prospera, sorry. Prospera is called in Honduras. And within a few years, the opposition who ran to repeal the entire laws. Right? They did it in 2013, I think, and by 2021, 22, they were out of Honduras. Of course, they sued Honduras for $11 billion for the investments and everything else to get back their money. $11 billion in the world court, in whatever court they got, and they got, The point is, though, they look at the size. Like I say, everything is about scale, and the scale swamps us. You understand? They're talking about 2,600 acres. And just 1,000. They went into Belize the other day. It was a scam again. A big scam in Belize. Right? Most of these things don't work. And, I advise people, like I said, we need money. But sometimes the money you get is not good money. It comes with a lot of problems. It comes with a lot of trouble for you.
We cannot act out of desperation.
That's the point I'm making, and that is why that is why I started at the top of the show. We need to begin to think different. We need to begin to approach, and all our governments who have been, because we relied on CBI, was coming, and the inflows are coming. The politicians would be politicians, of course, and say what they want to say, and and do what they want. You live at their largest, meaning they give you what they have because they had money to throw around. But now this is forcing them to think. This is forcing them to, you understand, to go outside, think outside the box and be creative in terms of moving your economy forward. This is where the rubber hit the road. You understand, as it relates to if you're put up your hand to a politician, this is where you begin to start looking outside and say, well, I need help.
So what do you guys think about the ideas? Because I think it's been said by the Premier that in consultation with the Prime Minister, both have or seems to, the impression that we got is like they would not want the settlers in the zone to be able to vote. That to me is reverse psychology, because if I'm getting If I decide to sign a deal with a group and they're going to have the ableness, the ability, the right to vote in my constituency, shouldn't I be happy about that? Why should I be saying I don't want them to vote? That's a kind of a 649, I feel. But the truth is, can they really stop them from voting? They can't. They have a passport. They have every right like me and you. So the idea that is propelled, that the Prime Minister and the Premier would not like them to be able to vote, it's almost like a joke. Should the public be buying that as it's been said?
Yeah, and the next thing now, when they're in now, something is being said, a lot change, and now we have to hear that they are now being able to vote, you know? There's
a constitution, and I believe you will be really taking away the constitutional rights
of these people,
of a citizen.
Right.
You know, so I mean, who said it back then, or who changed what? I believe that from the outset, you'd have to go right back to the Constitution in order to prevent them from enjoying that right that a citizen holds dear, the right to vote.
The thing is, Naya, what is hurting me, growing up in my younger childhood days, I don't know. I was of the opinion that when someone got into politics, it was about to serve and to make their country better, you know? And I remember back then when we were without water and electricity in a lot of places in Nevis, and then I see Nevis start to grow and develop, and it also start to change with that development. I wish that with my heart that politicians can start to work at developing their country and serving the people rather than about winning elections and staying in power. When you have done your best, then leave the rest to the Lord. If you have done your best and people decide, I no longer want you, then leave them to God, knowing that you would have done your best. But if we go into government and all that we think about sometimes is winning an election, then we are going to make some decisions that may not benefit the people, but just to benefit us staying in power, which is not good. We have to don't make it about us. Make it about service. Make it about service.
Okay, let me just take this. Glendale, I'll come back to you. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Good evening to you and your panel. It's not just about voting rights. It's about other rights. The developer is saying that he's not interested in so much in 10,000 libertarians as they are in 10,000 families. Families suggest that there's going to be need for schooling, and what is to prevent any of those people in that zone from working in Nevis? They're citizens, residents. You can't prevent them. How could you prevent them from working? Right? So I mean, there's so many things that need to be fleshed out if this thing is to even start working. Okay? That's my contribution.
Okay, thank you. Glendale, go ahead.
You know, I mean, in their writings, for example, they spoke about St. Kitts Nevis. Mm-hmm. And they're saying the aim is to get 15,000 libertarians here in the likes of St. Kitts and Nevis. It's clearly spelled out here, right? In the likes of St. Kitts Nevis. The country has 48,000 residents. So if a group of libertarians moved there and became citizens, a liberty-focused nation could potentially be established. To become a citizen, you need to purchase a property and a minimum price of $325,000. After that, right? After that, to vote or run for office, election, they literally say it here. You must live there for at least 2 years. The St. Kitts and Nevis Citizenship Program is the world's oldest citizenship program, CBI in brackets. The program and is consistently ranked as the best CBI program globally. This is in libertarian chat.
I've got that information.
Right? My point is the intent is shown. They clearly have the resources and the money to do it if they're here and they settle. Guys, and don't say, oh, now I said, for example, 10,000 homes is hard to come by. This is a long-term project. 20 years, done. 15 years, done. Lower World Trade Center blew down in 2001, 24 years ago. That was the other day. That is not a long-term project, my friend.
Yeah.
You understand? That's easy to accomplish.
You
You got to see these things not in a today's terms, but in terms of your grandchildren terms, in terms of if we're around to see it as old men and women. You understand? This is what the chasm in which we brought on ourselves.
Yeah. It's a complete takeover. In the not too long run, to be quite honest, when kids are growing up here and have the right to run, it's a complete takeover. It's encroachment through. Well, what can I say? You know, we've been sold as desperate, and that's why I asked the question a few Tuesdays ago. How is the economy doing? You know, because all of a sudden we are doing not good. Just to promote this project, you know. Before the talk was we're doing all right, but I think we've been sold in a kind of way that reveals some desperation, that reveals some what could I say, real needs and desire, and here they come. They have discovered this place with, you know, leaders with a type of mind, and that sells the people as people who is insufficient in many ways in terms of needs and
let me add, they've discovered this place with Section 113, and this section, it's easy. You can go, like I said it last week, go to Bahamas and buy an island, or go in the Virgin Islands buy an island, like whatever the guy name, right, and buy an island and get sovereignty, meaning you get a seat at the UN. 112 guarantees that.
yeah.
And they have the resources if they get the numbers. And it's easy to extricate yourself from the Federation at that point. It's very easy. We're talking about 15, 20 years down the road, but that's no time. That's nothing in the larger scheme of things. You understand? So this is not something, they've thought about this. These guys have sat around here. They've been around here for 10 years with passport. They see you know, how things work. They understand the politics. They've studied. They're bright people. They're not dumb people.
So why would they want to, why are they choosing Nevis? Why Nevis?
I just told you, 113 is not in Barbados, it's not in Antigua, it's not in St. Lucia. You can't do it. There's a nation established already. 113 is a way out of nationhood. Extricate yourself from it and get UN status in the 191 countries that sits in the UN with a flag. And now you've got total sovereignty, a thing they've been trying to get since 1992 globally. Started with George Soros.
So what you're trying to say, that they might be using us then? Why they want to come here?
Of course. And that is why I keep saying, guys, don't be that. It's not, I mean, sorry.
It might be a Trojan horse.
You guys in politics and power, I'm not calling you naive or whatever, but don't look beyond the pale. Look way beyond. Look deeper than. Pull back the veneers. You know, begin to look at things in all its probable forms. You understand? Because you have a huge responsibility. You have on your backs all them little ones in St. Thomas's Primary and Gingerland Primary, Charleston Primary, and the ones they ain't born yet. You're responsible for the future.
That's why we need to see the document so we can speak from an informed
Well, we expect to see the document, you know.
Before that it is signed.
Well, we've been told over and over again that this document will be made public.
We would like to see it, please.
The
If it's good for
development
Nevis,
agreement.
then
It will be made public.
Yeah.
And then to be ratified, you know. And so this talk about signing before 2026, you know, so there's quite a lot more debating.
More, yeah. I'm still hopeful
to be
that
done.
we will see the document.
You know, but there seems to be something underlying that propelling such people very fast forward.
Okay, let me just take this. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Yeah, good evening. We don't need to see no document. We need to get up and start to protest. Protest against this thing because we know it ain't good for us. We know it ain't good for the youth, them it ain't good for the next generation. We need to protest. We don't need to see no document. Good night.
Good night. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, this again, guys. It's a serious matter. It's something to ponder. It's like I started this program this evening. We're in a sobering time. The economy is shrunk and is shrinking. The government has to begin to look outwards and beyond the normalcy of how they look at things in terms of their scope. I think what happens here, we need to begin to onboard new monies in the economy regularly. I mean, we depend on the tourist dollar, the tourists to land here and give us foreign exchange. We need to begin to attract enterprises into the country and stop. We got to go and get some work done, serious work done. And, because the reality is, numbers don't lie. And we're going to have to face the numbers, one way or the other. So.
I am here. I mean, the caller just said we do not need to see the document, but I beg to agree. I think we need to know what the document entails. I'm just not going to go out there and protest blindly without knowing what I'm protesting against. So I think knowledge is power in this regard.
Well, I think it's quite a lot's being said about the whole, the character of the CEO. To be quite honest with you, to me, it's enough being said to really, put an end to the going forward. Because it's obvious that he has some ulterior motives, some motives that's not conducive to a Nevis, for Nivision going forward. I really see a takeover, kind of a system whereby they would creep up in their numbers, in their influence. They have the money. I think we are dealing with a situation that we must be mindful of, 20 years going forward. The question is whether or not the administration couldn't come up with something better. Are they tired of searching for it, or?
Yes. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Good evening, Mr. Herbert. I am here listening, right? I listen to Antigua all the time. That is my other radio station, other than this station here that I'm listening to. And Antigua and Barbuda up there doing well. And then I listen to the Prime Minister up there doing what he's doing. All the time the opposition said they're marching. He not listen to them, He do what he have to do. You understand me? We can't, you think that the Prime Minister going to let them kick down the country up there? No, man. People got to move up, man. You can't stay down. Okay, good night.
Good night. Yes, go ahead.
I'm not sure what the caller seems to be implying here. I think what she is trying to say that the Prime Minister do what he or she wants to do. But I must say, and I don't know if it's people speak in that way because they are talking to me, but I am being quite honest that it seems to me the majority of people on this island is against this development. Whether this have really blurred the political lines and boundaries to me, and it looks to me like the concept of democracy have been put aside, and there is no efforts to really get a true picture in terms of numbers, who is for or who are against this thing. As the Premier said, that has been done. It's been done once every 5 years, and we elect people to make decisions on our behalf. But as I said before, it's the way you practice the politics in this democracy points to what kind of democracy we are on about. I really think that an evaluation of who is for or who is not should be done and should have some kind of impact on the decision making as it relates to signing this proposal. Don't take the people for granted, and do something that the majority seems to be against, and the consequences are unknown. As much as you think they are more clear to you than the public, that's absolute rubbish. You know, you are as uncertain as the public, and that's why I think that balance must be considered. Who is for and who is not? You know, we are living in a democracy, a democratic country, and we are asking that should be taken into consideration. You know, to me, it looks like the majority is against the project.
I totally agree. A prime minister who does what he or she wants is bordering on being a dictator, and we are talking about democracy here, and the people opinion should matter. Criticism does not always have to be about being political or bringing down any country. This is public accountability. The people deserve to understand a deal that affects their future, and they have a right to say how they feel about it. And I think, as a Democrat, that the persons in charge, regardless of what party, should listen to the people.
Well, we don't have a recall here. We don't have a recall here in terms of in our constitution, but we have the courts, and I think the court will decide this at some point.
Decide what?
Decide the legality of the SSC, the law that was passed. I think it will be challenged. I'm sure it will be challenged shortly. So that's maybe an off-ramp in terms of slowing down the process and this. It will be challenged. I can pretty much attest to that at this point, from what I know. Yeah. Once challenged in the courts, I mean, we don't, like I said, we don't have a recall process in this country where we can recall politicians or a referendum in our constitution, except for 113, they say. So, I mean, I think the courts, you know, again, the matter will be under review. This whole matter would go under review. Yeah, it will. It has to happen. And I'm aware here or there that is being considered. Let's put it that. I'll leave it at that for now.
And I must address transparency again. It's not criticism. It is a responsibility. Letting the public see agreement strengthens trust. That we deserve that. And I just want to if the agreement will be made, why is there a rush to sign this before next year anyway? Who benefit from the timeline? Who will benefit from the timeline?
I mean, the gentleman boldly say he wants a decision by the end of December, like he is forcing the decision. I mean, on us, or on the politician. That, to me, that is disrespectful. You understand? You stand in line and you wait. That is just, how things work.
The gentleman can say all that he wants and behave how we want. I'm not even focusing on him. I'm focusing on our leaders who will make the decision, final decision. They can say no. So even if he want to force thing or not, they can say no. It's who will benefit from this timeline, and what specific protection for individuals are written in the agreement, not verbally promised. And if it is such a blessing, why not give the public the full document? Blessings don't fear sunlight.
I agree with you.
Blessings don't fear sunlight.
If they so want, listen, if you're threatening and saying, well, sign this by the end of the year, this year, you would want to get this signed by the end of the year. Okay, fine. I'll call your bluff. He doesn't have an alternative.
No,
he can't go to Barbados. He can't go to anywhere else.
My leader.
This is his only.
The right thing.
Yeah, what I'm trying to get across is this is his only deal. They've been trying to do this forever. You understand? You must know your position in negotiating, right? You can't let them intimidate you into a position or push you into a position. You're not begging. You understand? You're dignified people, and act dignified. Let them wait, or else take it somewhere else. There is nowhere else. They have no other place to bargain at this point. And with all the information that's out there in the public space, it's worse now to take this packet somewhere else. You understand? So again, guys, I mean, look at yourselves, and begin to think this through a little bit deeper than how it's presented.
Well, a new set of rules, adding to the volume of a new set of laws, not rules, adding to the volume of our laws is something to look at in a serious way. Like the existing laws was not enough to offer justice, I suppose. And so, in the agreement, the development agreement, their bylaws is going to be made. It's going to be ratified by the local assembly, then the federal, and become a part of the volume of laws. That is scary. That to me points towards really a state within a state.
I had a joke that I run in my head.
I mean, you can put it any way you want.
There is a joke that I run in my head, but it's a serious joke. This seemed like it was done in Frankenstein lab. This whole thing, you understand, and presented to these guys, to us, and to me, it's a nightmare to unfold. That's why it's Frankenstein. It's serious, but yet it's like an out of mind experience that we're living through here. Yeah. In terms of pondering the possibility of something like this could happen. Yeah, it is. It's like they cook it up in some lab and then come up with this and present it to our leaders and and this is the kind of law we need for protection, for our purpose.
But
you understand?
To me,
and all this other nonsense.
It's coming from a source of desperation, too, to be quite honest with you. I don't know who wants to leave a legacy or who wants to say they're doing something grand on island or what. But it seems like it's coming from a source of desperation. Someone reflecting on themselves, say they probably have not done enough, have not done sufficient, have not impact as much during their time in politics. And as a result, we are doing this, and everybody's speaking out against it, but yet we are going forward with it. To me, it's almost like a journey into the dark, really. I think never before we had this kind of public concern, public outburst for any kind of investment coming to this island, because these people has been looking for this for many, many years, and they have found it in a little island with 10,000 people, and it looks like we are in such a bad position that we are taking it on board with the hope that they're going to change things for us. And we could be actually going down a deep hole.
And I mean, like I said, I keep saying to people, I have so many concerns about our reputational risk. I said it over and over in the international sphere. I also said the cryptocurrency thing. The cryptocurrency thing is not accepted by no central bank. There's no central bank on the face of the earth that has accepted cryptocurrency and have control on cryptocurrency. Well, the U.S. Central Bank does not. None of them do. And the point is, it operates on the margins. So nobody really understands how it goes. And for them to convert that into fiat currency, into real cash, it's a difficulty for the most part. And the reputation risk that comes with this is to be known as a cryptocurrency country with the U.S. and everybody else. Listen. You're playing. It's a very dicey game you're playing.
That's
at this
the question I asked the CEO. I asked whether or not the fact that he has been a successful trader with the crypto currency, and the fact that it's been said that it's one of the vehicles that encourage or facilitate or accommodate money laundering. If that wouldn't bring that extra scrutiny to the island and impact on not just visitors here, but on such things like the CBI program. And that's when he said to me, well, he no longer deals with cryptocurrency. And
now you come closer to the microphone.
Yeah, he said he no longer trade in that cryptocurrency, and in fact, you know, the Destiny project will boost the CBI. The question was asked, thinking that, you know, we would have that extra international scrutiny because of you know, cryptocurrency being that vehicle that encourages or facilitate money laundering. That was his response. So
in Belize,
I'm not sure if that is to be, you know, put aside after I got that response. So I just leave it there.
In Belize, what came out of that scam in Belize, it resulted in they losing foreign correspondent banking relations. This all the same crypto, yeah. And again, there's so many risks. You know, like you said, at the top of the program, if you want to enter something like this, you need people, consultants to negotiate these deals for you. People who do this on a daily basis, firms that focuses on this sort of stuff to do this for you. You know, all this nonsense they're talking about, they're going to give us 20% of the profits. Well, profits on what? You run a municipality. Everybody knows running a municipality, our government is revenue neutral. If you have a surplus, you have to reallocate. What is the profit? Where is it from? If you go over there, now you open a supermarket, a welding shop. Miss Maloney goes over there and open a supermarket. I go over there. John goes over there, open a dry cleaners. What profits? We're entering the enterprise for our own selves. They don't believe in taxes, so they're not going to extract taxes from any one of us operating over their business.
Let me just
it's
take
not.
this.
I don't understand it.
Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Good night, Webbo. Good night to the panelists again. Are you listening to the program? And as far as I can tell, it's a scam. To scam the people of this country. Because this bill, you understand this bill, right? I mean, you all know different thing happening under the CBI program. A lot of projects sell under the CBI program. All our food ban, all our things, and ain't finished. Because maybe these investors come in and start the project them, and because they can't get the money made from the CBI or whatever, they turn off let the project them, and a lot of unfinished project down here. So this bill by the went in not pass now. They pass it because they know that when they know that this bill pass, they know that, and the investor them get you with the bill. I mean, get you with the land, and anything happens. They know that they can't do nothing because the bill passed and the people can't do nothing about it because they don't pass the bill about it. You know, that's why they rush it to Parliament like that. It's a scam to scam the people of this country. As I said, if these men, where we elect, they care about the country, they care about the people, they will come in a town hall forum before they even go into Parliament to pass this bill. And the whole federation is thinking, no, that we are educated. We say we 80%, 98% literate. We 90% literate, and we politicians won't come. Our elected members won't come. Where we elect and do these things, and people are crying out and saying nothing about these things. What about the ordinary woman with 5 and 6 children? Some people don't get crying out so they can't get the land. People nationally can't get the land. You understand? And this thing is a scam to scam the people of this country. And I do not think, and the investor here in my place, because the remarks let me pass about the country, about we are crime country and all these things. I do not think that when people listen to you, what are you thinking about thinking news? You want to come in a country, come invest. And I can't talk about the country that crime and the murder country and all that kind of nonsense. This is a scam to the people of this country, and we ain't going to take it. All right then, gentlemen, you all have a wonderful night. May God bless.
Okay, I think that's a light moment. I don't know when last I heard that phrase. When we was small and somebody hit us, I ain't gonna take it.
No, take it.
So we're not taking it. Okay? Okay, let me just get a quick break and come right back. This is Thought That Get Results. Back after these.
Ready to save while you build? Now you can at Builders Paradise. Yes, shoppers, build up your Value Club points at Builders Paradise. That's right, Value Club members and shoppers, your favorite frequent buyer club is now available at the home of hardware and more. Whether you're laying tiles, painting walls, replacing doors, upgrading windows, or fixing up your home, every purchase at Builders Paradise now earns you Value Club points. Enjoy exclusive benefits like discounts on thousands of items, special savings for seniors, instant deals, quarterly rebates, plus an extra up to 2% off every quarter. Shop more, save more, earn more, only at Builders Paradise. Don't miss out. Start building your rewards today with Value Club at Builders Paradise, because every bolt, board, and brush brings you closer to bigger, better savings. Terms and conditions apply.
Back on this episode of Talk That Get Results. The SSS. This is the SSS. Glendale.
Yes, Webbo. The SSS. That's our own coin phrase for what the debacle or whatever this is happening with SSZ. So we're discussing the SSS or forum.
But the idea of security, to me, it's the idea of security is because very early in this debate, the Premier came on radio to say that the regular police would be the police inside the zone. To me, that gives me the impression that there's been a discussion as to what type of security. I mean, from the investors' point of view, I suppose they wanted their own police system. And very early in the discussion, I was told that they won't be paying any tax. So to me, there has been agreement on certain issues thus far. You know, one that the regular police would be.
Naya, I'm going to get back to you on security, but let's take this. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Yes, I was wondering, with all the opposition to this project, it's hard to believe that the leaders are tone deaf to it, right? And I'm wondering if, even at this late stage, they're negotiating something more palatable in terms of scaling it back and looking at the concerns of all the various segments of society and trying to address them. In which case, how do you see this playing out in terms of, do you still, do the opposition, for instance, still call for a repeal? Do they say, well, this is more acceptable? How do you think this could possibly play out? And do you foresee, if, for instance, if the NIA passes it, is it automatic, you think, bearing in mind the political considerations that would be involved, that the federal government would go along with it, right? Because, I mean, could you imagine the repercussions if they don't? If you have a division between the NIA and the federal parliament on this? You know, those are some questions, you know, I'd really like some answers to.
You know, Carla, that's interesting, but you made a statement at the beginning of your comment and your questions by referencing the massive opposition to it. Agreed?
Right.
How do you know that? Because depending on who you listen to, the pendulum swings, meaning that one side is saying that there is massive support.
But it's more than that, because when last you heard the people like the religious community, the law community, the chamber, the historical and conservation.
Right, but
of these.
But you're hearing what I hear, though, correct?
Hearing what you
meaning that one side says there is massive opposition. And when I'm speaking about opposition, I'm not referencing political parties, because in my view, based on what I'm listening and hearing, this thing has gone beyond political parties,
right,
whether opposition or support.
Right.
Okay. So you're hearing one, for instance, you are saying, well, from your vantage point, there is massive. As a matter of fact, some persons are even using a number. Some persons are saying that there's 80% opposing. And on the contrary, you're hearing there's 80% support.
Right.
Right. So you're hearing that?
Yes.
Okay, good. So that's what I was asking. So how do we know?
Well, in the final analysis, as the Premier says, there is that every 5 year voice. Yes, the bill may still be pushed through, but look, that's what I mean about the consequences.
Okay, well, to that, I don't know if you were listening in the House today, but the Premier also said today that his administration is in fact listening and giving credence to the particular voices and opinions, and using them in their deliberations. That's my interpretation of what he said. I can't.
Okay, that's very good.
Walk with me. I'm telling you what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm hoping that the biggest of all issues, though, that includes the biggest of all issues, which is the scale of the project, because the developers, bearing in mind all you've said about intent and so on, and what their goal is, may not want to they may not want to change their mind about that. They may not want to negotiate on that point at all.
Oh, really?
Well,
I don't know if you listened to the beginning of the show. We were supposed to have the CEO tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Something urgent came up. They couldn't do it. They promised they will reschedule.
Okay.
We're hoping we will get that done before the agreement is signed. Keeping in mind that we learned that they said they want it signed before the end of the year.
Right.
So we are looking at that. So as I have said to everybody, keep the discussion going, keep the debate going.
But wait for the proposal.
Well, we can. Well, we're a democratic society. We do what we have to do, and we, as I said, it's a good, healthy debate, and persons, we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that's what I'm wondering. If they renegotiate it, is there a point when it becomes an acceptable a proposal that is acceptable to the vast majority? Right now,
I'll keep that in mind, caller, when and if we talk with the CEO.
Okay, because right now people have dug into their positions.
No, that's okay. I've been around a while, and that's how a debate goes. We will get to what is fair and reasonable in the end. Okay.
All right.
Yes. Who it is?
I'm not
Janet?
optimistic.
Naya?
Yeah.
The things have been sealed, to be quite honest. Yes, the Premier said what he has said today. You know, it's good to hear that. Good to the ears of the general public. Good for our democratic expectation. But I think things have been sealed. The caller questioned whether or not, or what would happen if the NIA ratified the agreement, but the federal government denied it. I personally don't see that happening.
Okay, let me take this. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Good evening, Webbo. Good evening to the panelists. Good evening to the general public. Webbo, I would like to just point out that we all heard that what the Premier said today, what you just said, and we understand what you just said, or what you said he said. I would like to also point out that the same Premier in the town hall meeting with the people at the Anglican Church School Hall said that the people could say what they want. At the end of the day, the cabinet, the government will make the decision. And when you have majority in a section saying no, and the Premier said there's a silent majority, you put all them in the same bucket, right? Whatever you get, you get. One thing I'd like to point out, the previous caller made a point that at the end of every 5 years, people could make a decision. I'd like to submit that in this particular situation, if we wait until the next 5 years or the end of this 5 years to make a decision, it will be too late. Because the SSZ law that was rushed into Parliament locks the Federation into a point of no return. If they decide, let's say we make a decision to change our leadership. If the leadership that we change to decide that they don't agree with this and they want to change it, we are going to end up in a situation like Honduras. The Premier said what this have to do with Honduras, but it's the same thing. The law, if you study the law, you see everything in there. I mean, and what they're saying about the project, the two of them together. If you study them, it's the same thing. They could try to tell you that it's not, but everybody could use their own analysis and brain. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Is spot on. You know, I mean, it's just like Honduras. I mean, new government came in, they decided to repeal in 2021-22, and they repeal it. Boom, the lawsuit came for $11 billion. And they won pretty much, Honduras is up to paying $11 billion. Where they're going to find the money, I have no idea. The point is, we're at the point of no return, as the caller says, once we go down that road. And any new party who comes along and wants to repeal it or turn it over, that is what the people of St. Kitts Nevis will face. And that is scary to start with. These guys don't play easy. They play real hardball. This is serious business. And I think we ought to be very, very mindful and careful about what we're doing and the decisions we're making, because they have huge consequences at the end of the day, because you may not be in power in the next cycle or the cycle after that. And the folks who come along may want to go in a different direction because of what's being played out here on the ground at that point. I think we ought to be wise. I think we ought to call on other people and listen and make the decisions that are judicious and that are at least can exact some sort of peace in the country.
So you're trying to say, you're saying here that 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 person might make a decision, but then 10,000 taxpayers will have to pay back. If
not only 10,000, 60,000 taxpayers, 50,000 St. Kitts
so
would have to pay back.
if they have to pay back, shouldn't they be part of the decision making then?
It seems to me.
Since not only the persons who make the decision will have to pay back.
And you're elected for 5 years by the people to carry
So
out.
the fact
you
that
understand?
everybody will have to pay,
I mean,
everybody should be considered in making the decision. Opportunity without accountability is incomplete, and accountability is not weakness. It's doing what is right by the people and for the people. And Nivijans deserve clarity before decisions that affect generations or their life are made. We are in this together.
Yes, we are.
Well, changes, I suppose. We are hoping to see some changes on Ireland, good changes we hope to see, not one that put us in jeopardy. And I suppose that is what we elect a government to do. Any government that does otherwise would not see the seat of Parliament in the next cycle, I suppose. If we are responsible electorate, if we are an responsible electorate, and if we are in any way mindful of the future generation of our island.
And I want to give the Premier the benefit of the doubt. I want to give him, think that he will do the right thing for the people, and he will, let us see the document. Make it public.
Well, seeing the document does not.
Then he give us a.
That won't do it all.
It may not do it all, but at least we have an idea of what is there.
Is if he can respond to the needs of the people, in terms of not to do anything that the majority of the people against.
And I would just say that the majority is of the people they are speaking from an informed position, or they're just speculation here and there, what might be this, what they read from online.
But sometimes
we don't know what is really it.
We will look at this idea of educated and so forth. You understand? But people are a people. An individual is an individual, whether educated, yes or not. And whether he's speaking from a well-informed or not a well-informed, he's speaking still, and he should be counted, because that's all a part of human rights, to be counted.
Yeah, but we need to know. Naya, we need to know what is what. I mean,
yes, we need to know, but what about
and then
those
we
who
can be
don't
in a better
understand?
position to know what is really, what decision we should make.
But how do you know? How do you know in what they were in the second day? How do you know in 28 days or 27 days that's left on the clock? How, even if you release the document, there's the agreement, so to speak, it's not enough time to peruse it. It's not enough time to drill down and to look at all of the permutations.
Quick question: how much time is enough time?
I told you all with this thing. It
Quick
needs to be at least a
question:
year.
how much time is in a year?
Review for at least
So you need another year?
6 months on then.
Okay, let me take this final call. Good evening. You have half a minute.
Good evening.
Hello. You have half a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to say that I appreciate this program. It's very timely, and congratulate all of you on this healthy discussion. Now, the first thing I'd like to say is that we have given a lot of heat to the government in Nevis as well as the federal government. I think we should acknowledge the fact that they're going the route of bringing this to some legislative process. Because there are other similar, maybe not exactly precisely the same setup, like for instance in Christoph Harbour, and we are in the dark about how much of we have given up to Christoph Harbour in a similar way, right? So I would like to say that. And finally, given the fact that the Prime Minister's, I believe, and if I'm wrong, I stand corrected, his wife is a real estate agency or one of them for the developers, would it be appropriate for him to recluse himself from this process? I think, and would that give more legitimacy and credibility to the process? The fact that he's involved, he has perhaps an argument can be made that he has a self-interest in this particular issue for it to succeed. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay, who has got the last word? Quickly.
Well, it's a journey into the dark, and I think we still got to hold hands, because we just will feel more safer holding hands.
That's the last word. This program repeats tomorrow at 10 o'clock following the VON News Minute. Join the Honorable Mark Brantley tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock for On the Mark. Join Keith Scarborough on Thursday evening at 8 o'clock for Government at Work, a place where you can spend all of your evenings right here on the Eastern Caribbean's Powerhouse. Thank you all again for joining us. This is your voice in the community, Thought That Get Results. You all have a wonderful evening.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program are solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertising.
With all the power from the tower.